Good evening and tonight. I'm Thrones of War,
And I'm Ransom Shieldson.
and today we're going to go through the pretender gods that we've added into Dominions. This video will be strictly just that, and we're not going to be touching in on anything else. First off, we have the Fallen Valar, Morgoth himself. Solid amount of hit points, quite high protection owing to his black steel full plate and magic crown. Good magic resistance, good morale, high strength, decent attack skill, a bit lower defense skill, but that's just due to the weight penalty from his armor. High precision. He wields Grond, which does quite a lot of damage, especially in his massive hands. It also gives off an area of effect stun that can be negated by defense skill, and also causes a eruption of flame to burst from the ground. There's a lot going on there, and he can cause a large amount of damage to groups up against him, so be careful of that. Magic Crown, Black Steel Full Plate, and Black Steel Round Shield keep him very well protected. He starts off with one level of Fire, Earth, and Blood magic. It is shown as 2 here because he has Blood Power, so it will always be 1 higher than you actually put into it, which can be very useful, as he is, of course, the originator of most of the monsters that populate Middle-earth. In fact, probably all of them. He has Fear, level 10, Fire Resistance of 10, Cold Resistance, also 10. Counts as a magic being, as we tend to do for the Valar and the Maiar. He has Cold and Heat Aura, because Fire and Ice were kind of his thing. Inspirational +2, and Taskmaster +2, so he will definitely be inspiring his armies. Good Crossbreeder, has a Forge bonus for constructing magical items. Farcaster in all magic paths. He is a Dragon Master, so whenever he summons or creates dragons, he will get more of them, which is pretty intense. And he starts off with a Never Healing Wound, otherwise he would have even more hit points, and this is to represent him being burned by the Silmarils before he got them in his crown. He has Dominion of 4, which those of you who have played the game will know that there are very few Dominion 4 pretenders that are not like inanimate objects or statues, so that puts him in a very niche category and makes him quite significantly powerful. And to show that he kind of had a part in any kind of magic, new magic paths only cost 40 for him, so decently expensive. This is kind of the focal point of his magic, but if you want to expand him a little bit more, then that is absolutely doable.
Next up, we have the Devourer of Light, Ungoliant. With a pretty massive health pool, good strength, and decent attack and defense skill, high natural protection, high magic resistance and morale, high combat speed, and map move. She has a Web of Choking Darkness, which does 35 poison damage, and can web enemies. She has Spider Fangs that deal a significant amount of poison damage. Death poison, yeah, and 2 spider claws. You'll notice that she is freaking massive. If we could make her size 7, we would, but she easily outclasses any other spider in sheer sprite size, if nothing else. She's kind of pure death, high fear, weak to fire. She counts as a magic being. Dark vision 100, stronger in the dark. Population killer 50. She just wants to eat things. Inept researcher 8. She just wants to eat things. Causes unrest 3.0. She just wants to eat things. Because she devours light, we originally were going to have her auto-cast the darkness spell at the start of each combat, and then we realized that was completely overpowered and should not be a thing. So instead, she eats light and converts them into 2 death gems per month. And she can also summon allies. She can summon some size 5 spiders, as she kind of birthed all the rest of the spiders. She is only a Dominion Strength 2 pretender. She's not very good at getting other magic paths, but she is a truly formidable combat god that you have to keep your eyes on.
So next up we have Ancalagon, the Black Dragon. Very high health and protection, which is natural protection because he can't really wear armor. High magic resistance and morale, solid leadership, but only for normal units, not so much with anybody else. Very strong, better attack skill than the others, but only average defense skill. He's a beast. Bite, claw, and tail sweep, which are fairly standard for dragons, but he also has Black Dragon Fire, which is a special dragon fire specifically for him, which I believe does slightly more damage than the baseline, but most importantly has a larger area of effect than most dragons, as he is the greatest of dragons. So, he has 2 fire magic and 1 blood. New magic paths cost 50 for him, and he is a Dominion 2 god. He has Fear 10, he's fire resistant, can fly, and is immune to storms, so he can fly in those too. And he has an affliction resistance rating of 2. Unlike other dragons, he cannot change into a humanoid shape, but he is overall more powerful than all the other dragons, who are also used as pretenders.
Next up is Durin, the Eldest Father, with 20 hit points, high strength, and high protection due to having dwarf armor, decent attacks and defense skill, and precision, relatively low combat speed, as well as good morale. So yeah, pretty decent stats. He can lead quite a few troops with +4 morale with the inspirational, which is very powerful. He has 2 earth and 1 fire magic to start. Has Awe 1, 30 fire resistance, as most dwarves with the dwarf masks do. Mountain survival, +20 siege bonus. Gluttony 1 as a standard dwarf thing. Castle defense bonus +5. 20% forge magic items reduction. Reinvigoration for Mastersmith to the inspirational. Inspiring Researcher +1. Everyone in the province researches a little faster. Resource bonus +10. Goldmaker 20. And Mason, along with Affliction Resistance 1. He wields the Khazad Steel Axe, which is just a very strong one-handed axe. And wears the Khazad Mask, which does a little fear damage in an AoE 1. And he has a Khazad full helm and a Khazad mailed hauberk. He is a Dominion 1 pretender. 10 units can act as his bodyguards, and new magic paths cost 40. He is a very powerful pretender with a lot of utility, but it can be very tricky to know where to use him, especially because he's exclusive to the dwarves.
Next up is the Elder King, Manwë himself. He has 90 hit points, a small amount of natural protection, decent magic resistance, and morale 30, which is of course fairly standard among gods and means that they won't break normally. 27 strength, and 12 attack skill and 13 defense skill, 10 precision, 18 combat speed. He is a decent leader with some extras in magic leadership, some bonuses there. He wields a magic scepter, has 3 air magic, a base research of 11, 3 all. He is resistant to shock damage, and counts as a magic being, as the Maiar and Valar tend to do, He can fly. He's got Farcaster for air, and is, of course, a spell singer, as many units in our mod are. He also starts with 2 Eagles of Manwë with him at the beginning of every battle, which are great eagles that are slightly stronger, sacred, and have awe. He has Dominion 3 and new magic paths cost 80, so much more specialized in air magic than some of the other gods that we've gone over so far.
Next up is the Vala Smith. Owly. High strength and hit points like Manwë. Most of the stats are comparable, let's be honest. With the Hazad Steel Hammer, with the break armor effect, as all their hammers do. He is a fire mage and 2 levels of earth magic, awe 3 magic being, mountain survival, castle defense bonus, forge magic item bonus, mastersmith 2, inspiring researcher plus 2, resource bonus 20, gold maker 50, mason, and spellsinger. Basically a bigger version of Durin. Bigger, and some of the things are more focused, although he is not nearly as good as a leader. Like all the rest of the Valar here, they are Dominion 3, and for him his new magic paths cost 70.
Next we come up to the Valar Doomsman, Mandos himself. As you can see, his stats are comparable to the other Valar, but he has a little bit less strength. Not a lot of leadership either, like Owly. He only has a fist as his base weapon, 2 levels of astral magic, 1 level of death. He has fear as well as awe. The fear is 6 and the awe is 2 to kind of represent the balance between the two. Magic being, he has fate weaving, which means that the person who attacked him will suffer misfortunes for the next few rounds of battle. He has Fortune Teller 50, which is higher than anything in the base game. Death Curse and Spells Singer. 10 units can act as his bodyguards in combat. Dominion 3 new paths cost 70. We tried to make him as much to do with the whole fate and that kind of thing as possible, while still factoring in that with the idea of Iluvatar no longer being around, the fate that he's been seeing is not necessarily still there anymore.
Next up is the Vala of Valor, the Punchman himself, Tulkas. Good hit points, high strength, pretty good attack and defense skill. Other than that, he's mostly comparable to the other Vala. Pretty high combat speed as well. You'll notice that he doesn't have hand slots. That's because he only fights with his fists, and mighty fists they are. 14 damage with 2 attacks, but it can't be used for repelling, and he cannot equip any other magic weapons or shields. He has only 1 fire and 1 earth magic. He has all 3 fire resistance and cold resistance, 10. Magic being, he's a pretty good leader and a decent magic leader as well. He has inept researcher 5. He's not really one to sit around when there's stuff to be done. He is a spell singer as well. New magic paths cost 80 for him. I really like Tulkas. He went in and single-handedly, pushed the Valar over the edge against their first conflict with Morgoth, just because he showed up, and I'm really glad that we get to incorporate him here.
He's pretty awesome. Varda, the Vala of Stars, most beloved of the elves. Again, fairly standard Vala stats, a little bit less strength and skill than most. But she has 3 astral magic, a little higher awe than usual. Magic being ethereal, so she's quite difficult to harm in combat. She has a patrol bonus, Farcaster for her astral spells, and of course Spell Singer. Fist as her starting weapon, she's got no starting equipment. Dominion 3 like them all, and new magic paths cost 80.
Next up is the Vala of the Hunt, Mighty Orome. Now he has slightly less health than the other Vala and isn't quite as strong, but he has higher attack and defense skill, and has decent protection with his chainmail hauberk and his gleaming helmet. He has decent magic resistance and a much higher combat speed as he's riding on his mighty horse, and has high precision. He wields a spear and a longbow and starts with the Valaroma, giving him Fear plus 10 and an extra patrol bonus. He has 1 level of Earth magic and 2 levels of Nature magic. He has Fear 10 from the Horn, Awe 3, counts as a magic being, has Swimming, Snow Move, Stealthy 60, Mountain Survival, Forest Survival, Supply bonus from the Nature magic, Control bonus from the Horn, and Spell Singer. New magic paths cost 80, so he can't really diversify, but he is a formidable pretender.
Next, we have the Star of High Hope, Arendil the Mariner. Now, as you can see, he took some work, and he's very different from everybody else.
Heck yeah! I spent a lot of time on him.
We eventually made him work in his ship Vingalot, and obviously this is after he's had it rebuilt in Valinor, with, as we hear about in Bilbo's song about Arendil, a ship then new they built for him of mithril and of elven glass. So pretty significant.
Yeah.
So he's got 25 hit points, which is not bad for a humanoid pretender. Counts of size 6 because of the boat. Pretty high protection, very good magic resistance and morale, of course. Good strength, high attack and defense skill, which the boat helps him with. Very high precision. Good combat speed. He has a crested helmet, elf mail hauberk, and an iron shield, which is fairly standard for elven units. And wields an elvish blade, which is does magic damage in addition to 6 damage in general. He starts with 1 air, 1 water, and 1 astral magic. He has regeneration 20%, 4 awe, poison resistance 20, immortality, flying, floating, siege bonus 5, recuperation, patrol bonus of 10, spirit sight, inspirational plus 2, which massively increases his leadership capabilities, storm immunity, disease resistant 100, like all elves have, and Spell Singer. It's a lot of abilities. Some of them are based off of his ship. Some of them are the Silmaril that he's got on his mast there. Some of them are because there's one text that we have that says that he was the one who actually killed Ungoliant, which is... And that was, before he got the Silmaril and that kind of thing. So he's kind of a pinnacle in a lot of ways of the elves and what they're accomplishing here, and remains relevant kind of for the rest of ever. So his Dominion level 2, because he's still a humanoid deity rather than a deity-style deity. And new magic paths cost 40, so he can expand, but he is very expensive at 350 cost. So you're not going to have a lot of designer points to play with as it stands with how he's set up. So bear that in mind. All these fancy abilities definitely come with a cost.
Alright, next up is Ulmo, Vala of the Sea. 88 hit points, otherwise pretty similar to all the other Vala. He has higher protection thanks to his chainmail cuirass. Has a bit higher attack and defense skill than some of the other pretenders, but lower precision. Quite a good leader, focused in water magic. He is is an amphibian, and he has an alternate form under the sea. It's not very easy to show here, but he's quite powerful. And he has Fear 7, Awe 1. By release, that'll change to
Awe 2.
Cold Resistance 5, counts as a magic being, and has Farcaster for water. No spell singing, though. And will have spell singing. Still a work in progress. Fist as his main weapon. Dominion 3 is all of them.
Next up, we have the Vala of Growth, Yavanna. Fairly standard for Vala across the board. She's got 3 nature magic. Awe level is 2, but she has Animal Awe 3, because that's her focus. Poison Resistance 5, Magic Being, Forest Survival. Supply bonus is 30 as base plus 3 from her starting nature, so it'll go even more if you go higher nature. She has Strength of the Spring, so she has, I think that's just 20% extra hit points during the spring. She's got Army Healer. She'll heal 2 units per turn if she specifically uses the heal order. She's Beastmaster plus 3. Death Power minus 2. Now I know it looks weird, but it's the only way that I could give her Growth Power plus 2. It's weird how it's set up. But she will, if there's high growth in a province, she will be strong, and weaker the other way around. And to help with that, she does spread growth in the province that she's in, and she is also a spell singer. Dominion 3, new magic paths are 80, as usual.
And finally, we have the greatest Noldor, Feanor. Hit points 30, high strength, high attack and defense skill, like ridiculously high attack and defense skill. Good precision, good combat speed. High protection with his Noldor helm and his elf mail hauberk. Fantastic leader. Wields the Feanoran blade, which is a mighty great sword that inflicts the Flame of Feanor effect, which does 6 fire damage and goes through armor. It only affects gods and sacred units to represent the Oath of Feanor, that no one would get in the way of him and his Silmarils, be it Valar, be it anybody. It has fire magic, earth magic, and astral magic. To start, he has Awe 4, slash resistance and blunt resistance, and fire resistance. Can go berserk. He has Spirit Sight, Master Smith 2, and Forge bonus 4. He generates 2 Astral Pearls per turn, Disease Resistance 100, Spellsinger, and Affliction Resistance 2. He is a truly powerful thing, and there's an Easter egg when he dies that represents his death in the Silmarillion fairly well. He has Dominion 1, and new magic paths cost 50. So he is like Arundel, he is very expensive, but he has a lot of utility and power to make up for it.
So this has been the pretenders that we've added in. All things are subject to change before release, but this should give you at least a general idea of what you're looking at, and honestly, most of them are probably where we want them, but there may be some fixes and movings around and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I want to take a quick moment to thank the people that have joined our Discord already. They're super awesome, and we've been already starting some discussions, and I've been able to get some of their feedback on some of the things that we've shown already. They seem to be committed to helping make the mod better, and it's super helpful for us. They know more about Dominion's modding than we do. Thank you, Zonk and Andrej S, for your awesome support. I'll be happy to keep on working with you into the future.
All right, there will be a link to said Discord in the description, where we have people of like minds, and where we will be doing the main release of our mod again on the 31st of December. So, especially with these very helpful people on Discord, we are making a lot more adjustments, changes, balancing stuff, and are able to do some things that we wanted to do from the beginning but didn't know how to and have now been informed. So that all is to say that we won't be putting out another video for some time. We do still intend to go over the nation overviews like we were saying, and probably throwing out some other stuff there. But frankly, at this point, there's going to be very soon some nations that we don't actually know how they play because some core mechanics are being changed. And there's just not time before release. So since we're going to be focusing less on the mod for a bit once it has been released, those videos will probably take some time to come out, but they will come out. We're still going to be working on this, and we're still going to be moving forward. Just we need a bit of a break. This has been Thrones of War
and Ransom Shield Sun,
signing off.